Hi, y'all. I hope you're having a good day today. It's about 66 here in beautiful Arkansas this afternoon, and we are out walking. Roger's out walking, and I will be out walking in just a little bit. I want to talk today about being an HSP and how I found out, when I found out. I hope I remember when I found out because I didn't write that part down, but I did write down the definition. So I want to read this to you. And if I get distracted, I'm sorry. There's squirrels, sometimes people, sometimes all kinds of stuff. A highly sensitive person, HSP, is a term coined by Dr. Elaine Aron, an individual with the innate trait of sensory processing sensitivity. Representing 15 to 20% of the population, HSPs have a nervous system highly attuned to physical, social, and emotional stimuli, causing them to process information deeply, feel emotions intensely, and become easily overwhelmed by overstimulation. So I wanted to talk about this because not only because I put it in the description, but it might help you understand yourself better. Now you'll need to take a test. It's just a series of questions, if you choose to find out if you are an HSP. Everybody thinks they are sensitive because I think being sensitive means that you're more empathetic, maybe you're sweeter, but not everybody is an HSP. A lot of people are not. But I wanted to start out with some memories I have that I thought of just yesterday when I was thinking about doing this video. I remember when I had to be under 8 or 9 years old. My mother and I were in her car, and it was in the West Texas town I grew up in. And we were in her car, and she started teasing me. And we were talking, and she started like she was hitting me, going, I'm gonna get you, type thing. Well, when she did that, this man walked by and saw her. And I was, going like this, but I was laughing. So he looked, and this is back in the 60s, okay? So he stopped and he looked, and then he looked at me, and I was laughing. And we were both smiling. So then he thought, oh, okay, it's okay. The kid's not being beat, you know. But I remember, even that early, oh, I don't want him to think my mom was beating me because she never beat me. I never, you know, they didn't beat their children. But I felt like, oh no, I want him to know I'm okay, you know. And that might have something to do with being an HSP. It might not. I do believe that you are born that way. Either you have it or you don't. But another memory I have that's not a pleasant memory is I told this in another video, um, in my Getting Real video. I think it's called Getting Real, where I grew up in an alcoholic home, and my parents back then would play the records, and for them to not be loud, they put on those big bulky headphones. Remember those headphones way back? Well, they still have them, but so they could hear the music as loud as they wanted to and not disturb anybody, except they were disturbing people, me, because they'd start talking and yelling because they were in their mind they were yelling above the music, so they could hear each other. And then of course the fighting, and they fought a lot. And so I remember when they were yelling and fighting, what I would do, and I just talked about this yesterday. I hadn't thought about this in a long time. I hope I don't want to get emotional during this video. I don't want to, but I would rock. Sorry. I think it's important for you to know this. Not, oh, poor Catherine. No, it's not about that at all. And if you think that, you don't know me. But I would rock in my bed and cover my ears and rock in my bed at night to sleep. when they were yelling. And my sister wouldn't rock. My sister was in the twin bed next to mine. She never rocked. And but I did that because I couldn't stand the thought of them fighting and yelling. And I think it's because I'm an HSP. I think I am. I mean, I know I am, but I don't think my sister was. And this is getting a little off track, but I do not believe in reincarnation. Let me make that clear. But I did tell God, I said, if I come back and I'm another woman, please don't make me an HSP. Because I don't embrace my gift. And I need to learn how to do that. But I don't embrace it. I don't embrace it. So we are a special kind of people. Our brains are wired differently. And you'd have to read up on it. Like, if you think you are, like I said, you need to take the test in Dr. Elaine Aron's book. It's called The Highly Sensitive Person. You can look it up online, the Highly Sensitive Person Test. But you have to make sure it's Elaine Aron's. There's other tests out there that may have other questions, but she spent years researching and developing this. So anyway, the next one, I asked my brother, because Elaine Aron, I'm starting to read the book again, and she says babies are different. The HSP babies are different. They may cry more. They may react to different things, differently. And so I asked my brother, what was I like? Because he's 11 years older than me. I said, what was I like as a baby? And he said, I was excited. I don't remember the other word he used, and I can't look it up right now on text. But he said I was an excited and happy baby. He said I was happy. So, and he's an HSP too, and I can't get him to understand that. But either you understand it or you don't. It's like in the way people think. Like, if you've been in the alcoholic world, you think either you're an alcoholic or you're not. And so in the HSP world, either you're an HSP or you're not. So, and then what else was I going to? Yeah, I went over that. It says HSPs born with a biological trait that gives them a finely tuned nervous system. And that's true. And the nervous system is the body's major communication. But anyway, 4 gifts of HSPs are emotional sensitivity, sensory sensitivity, loud noises, overwhelmed easily in public, and depth of processing, reflecting on situations for a longer period of time, intuitive, picks up on subtle cues. Like, we tend to notice things. I remember working in an office several years ago, and the guy across from me was getting corrected by one of the managers there, and I felt for him. I just felt for him, and I was embarrassed for him, because how would you like to have that done to you? You wouldn't. So I sent him an email. I don't remember what I said. but he's the very person that told me, well, he said thank you, and I won't get off into the rest of it. But and I remember also many years ago, I went to like a Care Now or a Doc in the Box type place one time, and it was in the afternoon, and there was a woman in there with her child, and the child was sitting on the floor crying, and I felt bad for the child, not the mother. I felt bad for the child because the mother was doing nothing to comfort the child. Nothing. And I'm not a mother. I've never had children. So, Maybe she was exhausted. Maybe the kid is just an attention getter. And excuse the noise, somebody's talking and walking. But I didn't know the situation. All I know is the baby was on the floor crying. He was maybe 2, and she did nothing. She did nothing for him, and that hurt me. People notice stuff like that. Well, you say, well, if you're a parent, you're gonna notice stuff like that. But it hurt me. I didn't like it. So uh, that was one thing. And then, um, yeah, there's another one in a movie. I'm not going to name the movie, it's just such an old movie. But there was a lady that had a baby in the movie, and she didn't want the baby. And back then, they put the baby in a crib at the end of the bed. And the baby was crying, and she didn't pick it up. She did nothing. So the baby ended up getting adopted. But man, I was under 11, and that really affected me. I just hated it. I hated that. But we are more um, observant than a lot of people. And I was in a group on Facebook, and that's how I met Roger. And he is also an HSP. So it is an experience, 2 HSPs together, really. But God put us together, and I have no doubt about that. But it, they say to embrace your gift and to just go with the flow. But I don't embrace it right now. They say that people see it as weakness. Oh, you're too sensitive. I was told as a child, don't be so sensitive. And I couldn't help it. That's me. That's me. And so, like I said, if you want to take the test and find out if you are, it's pretty interesting. And if you're not, hallelujah. But if you are, read up on it and learn, because there's the highly sensitive child. There's a book about that. There's all kinds of things that you can look up about it. But I just wanted to bring this to your attention. It is a thing. Our nervous system is different. And Roger and I have learned to accept each other's hypersensitivity. Like, I've been guilty of telling him, oh, don't be so sensitive. You can't tell an HSP not to be sensitive. That's like telling a dog not to bark, you know. And so I don't say that anymore, I don't think. He may correct me and tell me that I do. But he's sensitive in ways that I'm not, and I'm sensitive in ways that he's not. Like, I don't feel that he's as observant as I am, but sometimes he is. Like in a restaurant, if there's a lot of people talking around us and it gets loud, that bugs me, and it bugs him too. So, but anyway, HSP, if you know anybody that would benefit from this, would you please share this with them and tell them that it is how God made them? I'm telling this to myself, Catherine, that's how God made you. And love yourself and embrace it. So I will learn to embrace it. But I found out, this is another thing I wanted to bring up. I found out when I was in my late 50s, it was right before I met Roger. Because also, I remember being heartbroken when I was a kid. And I saw on TV people that would break up. And I'd say, oh, I'm so sad we broke up. Then they just go on about their merry way. But when somebody broke my heart when I was young, it flippin' devastated me. It devastated me. I remember I actually moved from my small West Texas town into the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, and I left a guy that I loved dearly. And the plan was that he was going to move up there with me. Well, that never came to fruition. He ended up breaking up with me. And I'm telling you what, that hurt me. It hurt me. And it took me a while to get over that. So it's just like, it just cut me to the core. So I asked God once, And I asked him, and I was in my car, and I said, why do I take this so hard about relationships? Because nobody else does. You know, they don't seem to be just absolutely flipping heartbroken and just cry and cry. Other people don't seem to do that. And God told me it's because you love deeply. And I said, oh, I love deeply. Okay. And so then I stumbled. I say not stumbled because it was meant to be. I think that's when I found the HSP group on Facebook. And then a guy and I started sharing ideas and talking. And that guy is now my husband. And it wasn't an accident that we met. And things like that do happen. And that's just another story that I will be interviewing him for. I'll let him tell you in his own words. But anyway, that's about me. You being an HSP, and are you one? Would you like to take the test? It's free. It's just a series of questions. You answer. Like I said, you need to take it. Look up the highly sensitive person test with Elaine Aaron, and it'll help you understand yourself better. It made me understand myself a lot better. So, and then I just remembered things from my past. Oh, well, that's why I ended up that way. That's why, you know, it answers a lot of questions. And I wish I wouldn't have found out so late in life, but it was meant to be that I found out then. So, if you can share this, that would be great. If you know somebody that you think might be an HSP, I can spot them a mile away. I can spot them a mile away now, and I can tell when certain people are. I can tell, and we'll be watching TV. Well, and we'll watch something, probably on YouTube, because that's all we watch. And I say, they're an HSP, and Roger said, yeah, I think so too. So it's interesting, but share this if you don't mind, and if you're not subscribed and you like this kind of content, I would appreciate you subscribing. I'm still new and I'm still not editing my videos. This is raw me, and this is HSP me. And it's a beautiful day, and I'm going to put this away and I'm going to go for a walk. So I wish you the most favorite, best weekend that you could possibly have. Enjoy the weather if it's nice, and if it's not nice, please stay safe. And God bless each and every one of you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.